So yeah, measuring straight lines, generally speaking, it's a rule or a meter stick, or if you want to measure kind of long straight distances, um, a trundle wheel. For measuring curved lines, an opposometer or a trundle wheel. So an opposometer is just a small trundle wheel. So if it's short lines, like if you drew something like this on a piece of paper and you wanted to know what length it was, um, you could use an opposometer to kind of roll along the line and tell you what the distance was. If you were trying to measure a really long curved line, like I don't know, something like the perimeter of the field in the school, you'd use a trundle wheel. You'd be there all day with an opposometer. Okay. Now the last two over here, which I just wanted to kind of introduce to you. Okay, so this one here on the left, you can see it down here, is a Vernier Calipers, and the one on the right here is a micrometer. Okay, and they measure width, thicknesses, and lengths. So you can kind of see, I know this is kind of a hexagon that they're measuring here, but like when you were measuring your coin the other day, a vernier calipers would have been a nice way to measure the coin. You put the coin in there, it closes down, and then you can see here it spits out a reading. Micrometer is for measuring thicknesses. Like we would use it to measure like the diameter of a wire, like something that's really like a wire, obviously, just a piece of wire. You put the piece of wire in between, and there's like the far end here where you can't see, there's a screw, and that pushes this down, and then you can tighten it around whatever it is you're trying to measure. Okay, so generally a vernier calipers is used when you're trying to measure diameter. If the object like that is like a coin or something that bit bigger, and then if you want to measure a really, really small diameter like a wire or something like that, you would use a micrometer. Okay, so just to be aware, obviously we kind of only used the trundle wheel and the meter stick the other day, so just to be aware that there are other instruments. And measuring area, so this is basically what we did. So to measure area, it says it here somewhere, is a two-dimensional. So area is the amount of space taken up by a two-dimensional shape. So if you're measuring the area of a rectangle, you have to measure it in two dimensions. You have to measure it this way and you have to measure it this way. So obviously what we're measuring are distances, but you need to combine them then to figure out what the area is. Yeah? So over here, this is what we did. Area of a square, obviously it's the same if it's a rectangle, and it's length by breadth or length by width. And area of a circle is, you can see it here, so it's pi multiplied by radius, or pi multiplied by radius squared. Okay, so when we were doing the coin, the radius is this bit, like half the width. So you would need to measure the whole width all the way from there to there, and then divide it by 2 to figure out what the radius was. Okay, and then you've got pi, which there's a button on your calculator, or you can just use 3.14 multiplied by the radius, multiplied by the radius. Okay. The SI unit for area. So area is I think it was in one of it's a derived unit. So you don't measure area directly, you measure length, you measure width, and then you combine them to measure area. So that makes it a derived unit. So it's length by width. Length is measured in meters, multiplied by width is measured in meters, and meters by meters is meters squared. So that's the unit for area. Yeah? So that's pretty much everything that we did the other day, just to kind of wrap that up. I want you to add the notes in about the different instruments there, and if you got any of this wrong, make sure you have the formula for the area of a square or a rectangle, and you have the formula for the area of a circle, and obviously down here the method on how to do it. What are the SI units, meters squared, and so on. Is that okay? So for today, I want you to measure mass. Hopefully whoever it is there that is, hang on,